The dust never settled on Necropolis 7. Red particles hung perpetually in the air, coating everything in layers of crimson sediment that turned black when wet. Lead archivist Kenna 9 stood at the entrance of the newly excavated chamber, her environmental suit already taking on the color of dried blood. "Are you seeing this?" she asked, sweeping her light beam across the vast underground archive. Perfectly preserved data columns stretched into the darkness, their surfaces untouched by the millennium of decay that had claimed the world above. By the first star. "Tell me someone is recording this." "Always recording," boss replied tech specialist Ava Patel through the comm system. Her drone swarm buzzed around the chamber, mapping every detail. "But you might want to look up." Kenna 9 tilted her head back, and her breath caught in her throat. Above them, carved into the ceiling in letters 50 feet tall, was a warning in the ancient script of the Meraxian Empire Terra Containment Archive: authorized access only. "Well," muttered Security Officer Jack Raven, his massive frame appearing beside her. "That is not ominous at all." The discovery had been purely accidental. Their team had been conducting a standard survey of the dead world, looking for technological artifacts to catalog. No one expected to find an intact facility of the Meraxian Empire, much less one dedicated to Earth containment protocols. "Director Pella needs to see this immediately," Kenna 9 said, activating her wrist computer. "Ava, start downloading everything. Jack, set up a perimeter. I want this place locked down tighter than a quantum vault." As her team scrambled to work, Kenna 9 moved deeper into the archive. The air felt heavy with secrets, and not just because of the dust. The Meraxian Empire had vanished 10,000 years ago, leaving behind only ruins and mysteries. But this was different. "Got something?" Ava's excited voice crackled through the comm. "Playing the first intact data crystal now." A hologram flickered to life in the center of the chamber, showing a Meraxian official in full ceremonial armor. Their crystalline carapace gleamed with rank markings, and their 4 eyes blazed with urgency. "Security Protocol 7 Alpha 9, the recording began. "Earth containment status failed. May this warning reach those who follow us. We thought we were protecting the galaxy by containing Earth. We were wrong. They were never trapped. They were." The hologram cut out abruptly, leaving them in darkness broken only by their suit lights. "Well, that is just perfect," Jack said, his hand resting on his weapon. "Nothing creepy about that at all." "Find me another working crystal," Kenna 9 ordered, her mind racing. Everything she knew about Earth came from fragmentary records. A primitive world, supposedly quarantined by the Meraxian Empire for the safety of the galaxy. But this suggested something else entirely. Boss Ava's voice had gone up an octave. "You really need to see these readings. The power signatures in this facility? They are off the charts. And they are getting stronger." The ground beneath them trembled slightly, and deep within the archive, ancient machinery began to hum to life. By the void, Kenna 9 whispered, watching as rows of data columns began to glow with an inner light. "What did we just wake up?" Jack's laugh was nervous through the comm. "Want to bet it has something to do with why this place is covered in warning signs." "Everyone out." Now, Kenna 9 commanded, but her voice betrayed her excitement rather than fear. After all, this was what they lived for, uncovering the secrets of the past, even if those secrets sometimes tried to kill them. As they retreated to a safe distance, Kenna 9 could not shake the feeling that they had stumbled onto something monumental. The Meraxian Empire, at the height of its power, had feared Earth enough to build this archive. But their warning suggested they had fundamentally misunderstood something about the planet they tried to contain. The question was, what had they gotten wrong? And more importantly, what was the price of their mistake? The Galactic Council's emergency response team arrived within hours. Their massive ship cast a shadow over the excavation site, its hull reflecting the crimson dust storms that perpetually ravaged the planet's surface. "So, you woke up an ancient facility dedicated to containing Earth, and your first response was to call me?" Security Chief Marcus Blackwood's voice carried a hint of amusement as he strode into the command center. His silver-streaked hair and scarred face spoke of countless similar situations, though perhaps none quite this significant. Kenna 9 straightened her posture. With all due respect, Chief, when you find a facility plastered with warnings about the most mysterious planet in known space, protocol suggests bringing in the experts. Fair enough, Blackwood grinned, revealing teeth that seemed too sharp for his otherwise human-like appearance. Show me what you have found. Ava's fingers danced across her holographic interface, bringing up multiple data streams. We have successfully extracted data from 23 crystals so far. The translation matrix is still processing most of it, but well, see for yourself. The central display filled with Emiraxian text, rapidly converting to standard galactic common. Blackwood leaned forward, his cybernetic eye whirring as it captured every detail. Report 3991B, he read aloud. Earth Containment Initiative has failed for the 7th time. Their defenses grow stronger with each attempt. The barrier fleet was not destroyed. It simply disappeared. Our sensors detected a spatial anomaly unlike anything in our records. We must consider the possibility that humans are not what we thought they were. There is more, Kenna 9 said, gesturing to Ava. Another hologram sprang to life, showing a Maraxian military briefing. The humans know we are watching, the ancient admiral declared. They allow our probes to observe their primitive warfare, their limited technology. But we have detected energy signatures that should be impossible for their level of development. The containment was never about protecting the galaxy from them. It was about what Blackwood demanded as the hologram fizzled out. Jack's voice crackled over the comm. Chief, you better get down here. We found their first contact protocols, and well, you need to see this yourself. The underground chamber felt different now, filled with portable lights and scanning equipment. Jack stood before a massive data column, its surface now transparent, revealing thousands of crystals arranged in perfect geometric patterns. This entire column, Jack explained, is dedicated to their observations of Earth. But here is the weird part. The protocols get increasingly desperate over time. Listen to this one. He activated a crystal, and a new hologram appeared. A Maraxian scientist looking significantly more distressed than in previous recordings. First Contact Protocol Update 89. Under no circumstances should direct communication with Earth be attempted. They are aware of us. Those of everything. The containment fleet? They know its true purpose. The observation posts? They know about those too. They let us maintain the illusion of control because. The scientist looked over their shoulder before continuing in a whisper. Because they are protecting us. The barriers around their solar system? We did not build them. They did. The ancient horrors our deep space probes detected, the ones that vanish near Earth's territory, they are fighting them, containing them. Earth is not our prison, it is our shield. And we never even knew. Blackwood's cybernetic eye glowed brighter. Access the final protocol. I want to know how this ends. Already on it, Ava replied. A new crystal activated, but instead of a hologram, it projected a simple text message to those who find this archive. If you are reading this, we failed. Our empire fell, not to Earth, but to our own hubris. We thought we were the guardians of the galaxy. We were wrong. Watch the humans, learn from them. And when the time comes, pray they forgive our arrogance, because you will need them. The darkness we glimpsed, it is returning, and Earth is our last hope. Silence fell over the chamber, broken only by the soft hum of machinery. Well, Blackwood said finally, I guess that explains why the Council has never received a response to their diplomatic overtures. Earth has been a bit busy. What do we do now? Kenna 9 asked, looking at the vast archive surrounding them. Now Blackwood's grin returned, fiercer than before. Now we figure out what the Emiraxians were so afraid of. Because whatever is out there in the dark, whatever Earth has been fighting all this time, it is about to become everybody's problem. The facility's lights flickered, as if in agreement, casting long shadows through the crimson dust that never seemed to settle on Necropolis 7. In those shadows, Kenna 9 could almost imagine she saw movement, like something vast and ancient stirring from a long slumber. They had come looking for artifacts. Instead, they had found a warning. And perhaps, just perhaps, the key to humanity's greatest secret. The Galactic Council's flagship Stellar Dawn hung in orbit above Necropolis 7, its pristine white hull a stark contrast to the blood-red planet below. In the ship's primary conference chamber, Admiral Thex studied the holographic displays with all four of her eyes, her scaled skin shifting colors with each new piece of information. "Play the containment records again," she commanded, her silver uniform glinting under the starship's lights. All of them. In chronological order. Kenna 9 nodded to Ava, who initiated the sequence. The chamber darkened as multiple holograms sprang to life, showing scenes from the Emiraxian Empire's ill-fated attempts to contain Earth. First Containment Fleet, departure date 47299 AM, Emiraxian commander announced. Operation Quiet Garden begins. Our mission is simple. Establish a quarantine perimeter around the Sol system. The humans must not be allowed to expand beyond their cradle. The recording shifted to battle footage. Massive Meraxian warships moved into position around Earth's solar system, their weapons primed. But something was wrong. The ships looked distorted somehow. Status report, the commander's voice shook. Half the fleet has vanished. No debris, no energy signatures, just gone. The humans are not responding to our presence. They continue broadcasting their entertainment signals, their commercial transmissions, as if we do not exist. Admiral Thex raised a hand, pausing the playback. Notice their technology. The Meraxian Empire had ships that could crack planets, yet they could not even establish a basic blockade. Second attempt was even more interesting, Blackwood said, stepping forward. Watch this. The holograms shifted again. A new fleet, larger than the first, approached Earth's solar system. This time they brought their planet killer weapons. Operation Steel Garden, date 47301, a different commander spoke. We will demonstrate our power. The humans must understand their place in the galaxy. The footage showed a massive energy beam striking nothing. The space around Earth's solar system rippled like water, and the beam simply vanished. Then the ripples spread, reaching out toward the Emiraxian fleet. By the first star, the commander screamed. Emergency temporal protocols. They are bending space itself. All ships retreat. Retar. The transmission cut off as ships began disappearing, not destroyed, but simply ceasing to exist in normal space. The Emiraxians made 7 more attempts, Kenna 9 explained, bringing up additional data streams, each time with different strategies. Stealth ships, diplomatic vessels, even tried to send in automated probes. The results were always the same. Their forces either vanished or were simply ignored. This cannot be right, Admiral Thex muttered, her scales turning a deep blue of confusion. The historical records show Earth as a primitive world. Their technology should have been limited to basic spaceflight and crude weapons. That is what they wanted everyone to think, Blackwood said with a predatory grin. Look at this next part. The holograms merged into a single image. A Meraxian research vessel hidden at the edge of the Sol system, capturing long-range sensor data. We have detected anomalies, the science officer reported. Massive energy signatures from the dark side of their moon. Artificial structures that appear and disappear around their planet. And the void creatures, they come near Earth's space. And they vanish. Not destroyed, contained, imprisoned somehow. The humans are not primitives hiding behind rocks. They are guardians, standing at the gates of hell itself. Admiral Thex's scales shifted to the white of revelation. The quarantine was not to protect us from them. No, Kenna 9 agreed. Earth built those barriers, created the myth of their own containment, all to hide their true purpose. The chamber fell silent as new data scrolled across the displays, reports of things the Meraxians had found in deep space. Ancient beings that devoured stars, entities that turned living creatures into geometric shapes for amusement, horrors that could not exist in normal space-time. These threats, Admiral Thex whispered. Where are they now? Look at the pattern, Blackwood pointed to a star map. Every major incursion of these entities, every time something impossibly dangerous appeared, they all headed straight for populated worlds, until they passed near Earth's space, then nothing. The humans let the Emiraxians think they had contained Earth, Kenna 9 concluded, even encouraged it, because as long as everyone thought Earth was trapped and primitive, no one would look too closely at what they were really doing. No one would panic knowing what horrors they were fighting. And now, Admiral Thex asked, her scales rippling with concern. As if in answer, new alarms blared through the stellar dawn. Emergency lights bathed the chamber in red as officers rushed to their stations. Multiple contacts, the sensor officer shouted. Massive void signatures approaching from deep space. They are like the ones in the Meraxian records, but bigger, much bigger. Admiral Thex stared at the tactical display, watching as impossible shapes began appearing at the galaxy's edge. Her scales shifted to the deep purple of decision. Send word to the Council, she commanded. All the old protocols regarding Earth are hereby suspended. We need to make contact. Now. And if they ignore us like they ignored the Meraxians, Kenna 9 asked. Blackwood laughed, but there was no humor in it. Oh, they will not ignore this. After all, we found their warning for a reason. The question is, are we ready for what happens when humanity finally drops its mask? The red dust of Necropolis 7 swirled below them, like blood in water. Somewhere on that ancient world, in a facility filled with warnings and secrets, machinery continued to hum. Waiting, watching. Ready to reveal more truths about the civilization that had fooled an empire into believing they were contained, when all along they had been the ones doing the containing. The next data crystal activated with a sound like breaking glass. In the depths of the Meraxian archive, a new hologram took shape. This one showed a human for the first time. A woman in what appeared to be primitive clothing, standing before a panel of Meraxian officials. My name is Amanda Stone, she spoke calmly, her voice carrying through 10,000 years of recorded history. I represent Earth's Guardian Protocol. We know you have been watching us. We know you think you have us contained. We allowed this misconception because it served a greater purpose. Kenna 9 watched Admiral Thex's scales ripple with shock. This recording should not exist. The Meraxians had never made official contact with Earth, yet here was proof otherwise. The truth is far more dangerous than you imagine, Amanda continued. Humanity did not evolve naturally. We were created, engineered by something ancient. Something that saw what was coming and knew the galaxy would need guardians. The hologram shifted, showing images that made Blackwood's cybernetic eye whir in distress. Vast geometric shapes moving between stars. Creatures of pure mathematics that consumed light itself. Things that could not exist in normal space, yet somehow did. These entities you have detected at the edges of known space? They are nothing compared to what lies beyond. The thing that made us? It was running from them. It seeded Earth with our ancestors, gave us the potential to become what we needed to be. Then it died, leaving us its knowledge and its burden. Admiral Thex's voice was barely a whisper. The barriers, the disappearing ships, the energy readings, all of it was. A containment system, Blackwood finished, but not to keep Earth in, to keep those things out. The hologram continued, merciless in its revelations. Every human carries the genetic markers of our creators. We can see things you cannot. Access technologies you cannot comprehend. That primitive warfare you observe on our surface. A carefully maintained illusion. Those simple radio broadcasts, camouflage. The real Earth exists in layers you cannot perceive. New data streams filled the chamber. The Meraxians had managed to capture glimpses of the truth. Massive structures phasing in and out of normal space around Earth. Energy patterns that defied known physics. And most incredibly, humans themselves, their DNA encoded with impossible sequences that allowed them to perceive and interact with things that should not exist. But the price, Amanda's hologram wavered. The price is higher than you can imagine. Each generation of humans, 10% are born with the ability to see them. The things between spaces, the horrors that want to unmake reality. These children, they either learn to fight or they break. There is no middle ground. Kenna 9 felt her artificial heart stutter. 10% of every generation, for their entire history. Look at these medical records. Ava called up new data. The Meraxians did not understand what they were seeing. Mental hospitals filled with people claiming to see monsters, children who could not sleep because they saw things in the dark. They thought it was mass hysteria, but it was not. It was humanity's burden. The hologram shifted again, showing Amanda Stone walking through what appeared to be a training facility. Young humans learning to manipulate energies that should not exist. others practicing combat against enemies that flickered in and out of normal space. We maintained the illusion of primitiveness because the alternative would cause panic, Amanda explained. If the galaxy knew what we were fighting, what we were containing, civilization would collapse. Better they think us savages. Better they think us contained, while we stand guard at the gates of hell itself. These readings, Admiral Thex pointed to a data stream. The energy required for their containment systems, the technological level needed. It should be impossible. No, Blackwood corrected. Not impossible. Just not possible for us. Look at their genetic data again. The Meraxians finally figured it out near the end. More holograms activated, showing research results. Human DNA contained sequences that operated in 4 dimensions. Their brains could process information in ways that violated known physics. They were not just advanced. They were engineered to be something else entirely. We offer you this truth now, Amanda's hologram continued, because we have detected something coming. Something worse than anything we have contained before. When it arrives, the galaxy will need to be ready. The illusion will have to end. The recording began to fade, but her final words rang clear. We are not your prisoners. We are your guardians. And we are so sorry for what is coming. Silence fell in the chamber. The implications were staggering. Every assumption about Earth, about human development, about the nature of the galaxy itself, had just been shattered. The void signatures we detected, Admiral Thex said slowly. The ones approaching now, could they be? What the humans were warning about, Blackwood finished. Sure looks that way. Question is, why are we finding this warning now? Why lead us to this archive at this specific moment? As if in answer, new alarms blared through the facility. Deep in the archive, something was happening. The walls themselves seemed to pulse with energy that should not exist. Movement detected in the void, an officer shouted over the comm. Multiple signatures, larger than anything in our records. They are. The officer's voice trailed off as the tactical display showed impossible shapes appearing at the edge of known space. Things that hurt to look at. Things that should not be. Well, Blackwood said with grim humor, guess humanity decided it was time to stop pretending. Anyone want to bet those barriers around Earth are about to come down? Kenna 9 stared at the final image frozen in the hologram. Amanda Stone, a woman from 10,000 years ago, looking out at them with eyes that had seen things no one should have to see. Eyes that somehow managed to stay kind, despite it all. They were not just protecting us from those things, she realized. They were protecting us from the truth itself. Because once you know what is out there, you can never unknown it. The archive's machinery hummed louder, and in the shadows cast by the ancient data columns, things seemed to move that should not be able to move. The truth had emerged, but it was only the beginning. The real question was, what would they do with it? The emergency session of the Galactic Council erupted into chaos. Representatives from 100 worlds shouted over each other as the tactical displays showed more void signatures appearing. The pristine white halls of the council chamber felt cold despite the crowd, as if reality itself was holding its breath. We cannot simply approach Earth, Counselor Nas slammed his tentacles against the podium. For 10,000 years, every attempt at contact has failed. What makes this time different? Admiral Thex stood at the center of the storm, her scales now a determined gold. Because this time they want us to come. The Meraxian archive was not just discovered, it was activated. The humans let us find it precisely when these new threats began emerging. The tactical display updated again. The void signatures were moving faster now, consuming entire star systems as they approached. Not through violence, but by simply removing chunks of reality from existence. Look at these readings, Kenna 9 highlighted specific data streams. The pattern is different from what the Meraxians recorded. These entities are not just passing through. They are coordinated, hunting. Hunting what someone asked. U.S. Blackwood answered, stepping forward. All of us. And Earth has been preparing for this moment for millennia. New data poured in from observation posts across the galaxy. The barriers around Earth's solar system were changing. The energy patterns that had remained constant for thousands of years were shifting, evolving into something new. "We need to assemble a first contact team immediately," Admiral Thex declared. "Not diplomats, not politicians, people who can handle the truth about what is really out there. People who will not break when faced with impossible things." "I volunteer," Kenna 9 said without hesitation. Her artificial body might be an advantage when dealing with reality-bending horrors. "Same here," Blackwood grinned, his cybernetic eye glowing brighter. "Someone needs to represent the partially human perspective." The council chamber's lights flickered as another void signature appeared, this one larger than all the others. On the tactical display, it looked like a hole in existence itself, rimmed with mathematical equations that hurt to look at. 7 star systems gone in the last hour, an analyst reported, voice shaking. No debris, no radiation, just empty space where they used to be. Whatever these things are, they are getting closer and hungrier. Admiral Thex brought up the final recording from the Memoraxian archive, Amanda Stone's warning playing one more time. "We are not your prisoners. We are your guardians." "Prepare the first contact vessel," Admiral Thex commanded. "Small crew, highest stealth capabilities we have. Not that it matters. If the humans do not want us to reach them, we will not get within a light year." "And if they do let us reach them," Counselor Naz asked, "what then?" "Then we face the truth," Blackwood said simply. "All of it." The first contact team assembled within hours. Kenna 9 as lead researcher, Blackwood as security chief, Admiral Thex commanding, and a small crew of specialists chosen for their psychological stability and adaptive thinking. Their ship, the Event Horizon, was the newest stealth vessel in the fleet. Not that stealth mattered against beings that could see in 4 dimensions, but it made the Council feel better. Final void signature analysis coming in, Avia reported from her station. "The mathematical patterns, they are forming words." "What do they say?" Admiral Thex demanded. "Translation matrix is having trouble, but I think found you." The Event Horizon's engines hummed to life as the crew strapped in. Through the viewports, they could see the nearest void signature consuming a gas giant, the planet's mass simply ceasing to exist. "Plot course for Sol," Admiral Thex ordered. "Maximum speed, and someone figure out how to contact Earth before those things reach populated space." "Already tried all standard frequencies," the communications officer reported. No response. "But there is something else. A signal. Not on any normal channel. It is like it is coming from between spaces." "Put it through," Thex commanded. The bridge speakers crackled with static, then cleared. A voice spoke, calm and clear, using words that were 10,000 years old. "This is Earth Defense Command. We have been expecting you. The barriers are down. Follow the beacon. And hurry. They are coming." Well, Blackwood laughed, but there was an edge to it. Guess they really were watching all along. The Event Horizon accelerated, pushing its engines to their limits. Behind them, more void signatures appeared, consuming space itself in their wake. Ahead, Earth's solar system beckoned, its ancient barriers finally lowering after 10 millennia of isolation. "Transit time to Sol system," Admiral Thex asked. 18 hours at maximum speed, the navigator reported. "The void entities will reach the nearest populated world in 20. "Cutting it close," Kenna 9 observed. "Almost like it was timed," Blackwood added. "Almost like someone wanted us to see exactly what we are up against before we reached Earth." Admiral Thex watched the tactical display, her scales shifting between colors of determination and concern. "Send word to all worlds in the path of those things. Full evacuation protocols, and prepare the fleet for." She paused, realizing the futility of it. Their most powerful weapons had not even scratched the void entities. Only Earth, with its impossible technology and engineered guardians, had ever successfully contained them. "Belay that last order," she said quietly. "Just get us to Earth, before there is nothing left to save." The Event Horizon streaked through space, carrying its crew toward humanity's domain. Behind them, reality itself began to unravel, consumed by things that should not exist. And somewhere ahead, a civilization of engineered guardians waited, ready to finally reveal the full truth of what they had been fighting all along. The Event Horizon dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Sol system. Where there should have been barriers, there was only open space. And waiting for them, hovering against the backdrop of stars, was something that defied description. "That is not a space station," Blackwood stated the obvious, his cybernetic eye struggling to focus on the structure. It seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at once, parts of it visible only when you were not looking directly at it. "Welcome to Luna Base," a cheerful voice came through their comms. "Please follow the guidelines, and try not to stare too hard at the architecture. It gives most species headaches." Streams of blue light appeared, leading their ship toward a docking port that somehow managed to look both primitive and impossibly advanced at the same time. "Is everyone else seeing the same thing?" Kenna 9 asked, her sensors trying to make sense of the structure. "Because I am seeing at least 3 different versions of that station, depending on which visual spectrum I use." "That is normal," the voice assured them. "Your minds are trying to process 4-dimensional space using 3-dimensional sensory organs. Do not worry. The nausea usually passes in about an hour." Admiral Thex's scales had settled on a confused purple as their ship docked with a soft thump. The airlock cycled, and standing there to greet them was a completely normal-looking human woman in what appeared to be casual clothing. "Hi. I am Rebecca Martinez, Earth Defense Command," she smiled warmly, extending her hand. "Sorry about all the mystery and illusions over the centuries. We would have made contact sooner, but you know how it is. Cosmic horrors to contain, reality to preserve, that sort of thing." Blackwood burst out laughing. 10,000 years of isolation, and that is how you start first contact. "Well, we considered going with something more formal," Rebecca shrugged, "but honestly, after maintaining the primitive civilization facade for so long, we figured we would try being ourselves for once." She led them through corridors that seemed to rearrange themselves as they walked, passing windows that showed views of space that should not have been possible from their current position. So Rebecca continued casually, "Those void entities following you. They are part of what we call the unbinding. Think of them as cosmic antibodies trying to eliminate what they see as a reality infection, specifically conscious life." "And you fight these things?" Admiral Thix asked, her scales shifting rapidly between colors of awe and disbelief. "Oh, that is just our day job," Rebecca waved a hand, and suddenly they were in a vast chamber filled with holographic displays showing the entire galaxy. "We also maintain the quantum stability of about 12 different dimensions, keep various elder gods asleep, and occasionally have to rewrite the laws of physics when they try to break down." She paused, noticing their stunned expressions. "Too much?" "Sorry, we are really out of practice with the whole diplomatic thing. Usually we just pretend to be primitive and let everyone else worry about their own problems." "The Amaraxian Empire," Kenna 9 started. "Yeah, that was awkward," Rebecca grimaced. "They kept trying to contain us, so we figured it would be easier to just let them think they had succeeded. The disappearing ships, we actually just relocated them to a nice tropical planet in the Andromeda Galaxy. They are doing quite well last we checked." Blackwood's laugh echoed through the chamber. "You turned the most powerful empire in history into an unwitting participant in your cover story." To be fair, Rebecca grinned, they did make excellent unknowing partners in maintaining galactic peace. Nothing keeps the peace quite like everyone thinking there is a contained primitive civilization that somehow keeps making imperial fleets vanish. The holographic displays shifted, showing the approaching void entities, but playtime is over. The unbinding has finally found this galaxy, and we cannot hold them back alone anymore. That is why we let you find the archive, why we are revealing ourselves now." "You need our help?" Admiral Thex asked incredulously. No, Rebecca's expression turned serious. "You need ours. And for us to help effectively, you need to understand what you are really dealing with. The good news is, we have had 10,000 years to prepare for this moment." She snapped her fingers, and suddenly they were in another room entirely, this one filled with what looked like ordinary humans practicing very unordinary abilities. "Welcome to Guardian Training," Rebecca announced, "where we teach people how to punch cosmic horrors in the face. Metaphorically speaking, of course. Most of them do not actually have faces." Admiral Thix watched as a young trainee casually folded space itself into an origami crane. This is beyond anything we imagined." "That is kind of the point," Rebecca winked. The best way to protect something is to make sure nobody knows it needs protecting in the first place. Now, who is ready to learn how to fight beings that technically do not exist in our dimension? The void entities loomed closer in the holographic displays, but somehow, watching a human trainer showing a student how to roundhouse kick a tear in reality, the threat seemed less terrifying. Perhaps that had been humanity's greatest achievement all along. Not just fighting the horrors, but learning to face them with a smile. The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Rebecca Martinez finished her presentation. The holographic displays showed Earth's defense network activating across the galaxy, barriers of impossible geometry snapping into place around populated worlds just as the void entities approached. You mean to tell us, Counselor Nas spoke slowly, that you already had defensive systems in place around our worlds? This entire time? Of course, Rebecca smiled. Did you really think we only protected our solar system? The barriers around Earth were just for show. We have been guarding every inhabited world since we first detected intelligent life. Admiral Thex watched as the void entities crashed against the newly visible barriers, their attempts to unmake reality dissolving harmlessly against human engineering. The alliance we propose is simple, Rebecca continued. We stop pretending to be primitive, you stop pretending you did not notice all the impossible things happening around your worlds, and together we face what comes next. And what does come next? Kenna 9 asked. Rebecca's expression turned both serious and amused. Well, now that we do not have to maintain the primitive facade, we can finally show you the really interesting stuff. For instance, that facility you found on Necropolis 7? That was just the public library. Blackwood's laugh echoed through the chamber. You are telling me that the most advanced archive we have ever discovered was basically your equivalent of a children's book section. More like the young adult section, Rebecca winked. The real archives are stored in quantum foam between dimensions. But we figured we should start you off with the basics. No sense in breaking too many laws of physics on the first date. The council representatives murmured among themselves, a mix of awe and anticipation replacing their earlier fear. On the displays, the void entities retreated, unable to penetrate humanity's defenses. One last thing, Rebecca added casually. Remember how we said we were engineered by an ancient race? Well, funny story about that. She snapped her fingers, and the entire chamber transformed. For just a moment, everyone present saw reality as humans saw it. Saw the layers of existence stacked like pages in a book. Saw the true Earth, a beacon of light and mathematics shining across dimensions. We did not just inherit the guardianship, Rebecca revealed. We are the ancient race. Or rather, we will be. Time is more of a suggestion than a rule when you operate in 4 dimensions. We created ourselves, engineered our own evolution, because we saw what was coming and knew what needed to be done. As the chamber returned to normal, leaving its occupants blinking in amazement, Rebecca pulled out what looked suspiciously like an ancient Earth smartphone. Now she grinned, who is ready to learn how to break the universe in all the right ways. First lesson starts in 5 minutes, and trust me, you are going to want to take notes. The future had arrived, and it looked remarkably like the past, just seen from a slightly different angle. One that finally, after 10,000 years of waiting, everyone could see clearly.